Hey, what's up, listener? Thanks for pressing play. This week on the Jock and Nerd podcast, The Walking Dead comic book drops a huge surprise twist. Netflix greenlights a Sandman TV series with Neil Gaiman involved.
Geek boner.
And the Flash movie gets its fourth director in 5 years. Plus, you're going to get our full spoiler review of Spider-Man Far From Home and a whole bunch more, all in this edition of the Jock and Nerd Weekly for Saturday, July 6th, 2019.
Hi, this is Gilbert Gottfried, and you're listening to the Jock and Nerd Podcast. Why? I don't know.
Check. Check one. All right. This is really fans out there. Let's give it up. We talking, we heard it. We funny, disturbing. We talking, we heard it. We spoiler alert. Oh yeah. We talking, we heard it. We funny, disturbing. Oh yeah. We talking, we heard it. We spoiler alert. You know what's up.
That's right. What's up, listener? How's it going? Thanks for joining us this week and every week. Welcome to the Jock and Nerd Podcast, where we give you comic book and superhero TV and movie news reviews and whatever we choose. Jock and Nerd. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's the nerd.
And that puppet hiding in the shadows in the corner.
My spider shits are tingling.
Recently spotted in Europe. It's the Night Felty. But we know his secret identity. It's Rug Boy. What's up, Rugs?
You can call me Night Monkey.
How's it going? Oh, you want to be the Night
Is
Monkey?
that racist?
I don't know. I don't know. Possibly.
Oh,
It's
shit.
kind of, I don't know.
How's it going? And don't spoil the movie.
I'm not. You're the one who called me Night Monkey.
That's not a spoiler. People will figure out what that is. Glad to have everyone here. Listen,
Night monkeys are real things.
Night monkeys are real things? What about spider monkeys? That's a real thing, too.
Spider monkeys are real things, too.
I'm going to get me one of them night monkeys as a pet.
Just put monkey next to anything.
Yes. Weed monkey. Where's the weed monkey? Weed monkey, bring me a bowl. All right, look, we got a lot of things to discuss. Let's get to the geek news right now.
The Jock and Nerd Podcast.
I'm going to start this segment talking about The Walking Dead.
Why?
Because it'll become very clear. The comic book that's been running since 2003, of course, led to this massive Walking Dead empire for AMC, Robert Kirkman. The show starts 2010. The book's hugely popular. Well, the book's still coming out. It's on issue 193. This past Wednesday came out. New comic books come out on Wednesday. But leave it to The Walking Dead to be the king of surprises, the king of twists. 193 comes out Wednesday. On Tuesday, Robert Kirkman comes out and says, oh, by the way, I'm ending the book tomorrow with issue 193.
Oh, shit.
Out of the blue.
What?
Yes. The comic book stores did not know. Fans did not know. This was so crazy. I had to go to my comic book store and get my pull list, and I haven't been there in months. Anthony, I went to the new Pastimes.
Yeah? Is it nice?
It's very nice. It's in the Golf Mill Mall. It's right at an entrance. You walk in. It's right there. They actually have a dope sign. Huge space. And guess who's working there again? Jimmy Terzis.
Really?
From Bruce Wayne's World. Yes, I saw Jimmy. I was like, what's up, Jimmy? He's full-time there again.
Wow.
Yes.
Full-time?
Yes. So,
I don't know how you can be a full-time... Never mind. I don't know how he's making a living doing that.
Listen, they make their money off Magic the Gathering cards, not comic books. That's how you run a successful comic book store in 2019.
Pokemon cards.
And Pokemon cards and board games. But I wasn't sure my pull list was going to be there. So I was like, look, I came to get my books. I don't know if it transferred over. Like, I checked and it was there. And he's like, I'm surprised they pulled this Walking Dead for you. It was in there. I was like, that's why I came. And I caught up on the last 10 issues of The Walking Dead. So the book ends. At the end of the book, there's a 6-page letter from Robert Kirkman saying he's had this idea for like 4 years. He knew where it was going to end. He wanted to end it after issue 100 before Negan came, but then it kept going. He didn't feel
That's my Negan.
That's my Negan right there.
Yeah.
That ending he felt was going to be a little dark and bleak. And so then he wanted to go to issue 300, but then he gets to issue 142 and he's like, oh, I don't have enough for 300. This thing's ending at 193. I know it's going to end. Now I'm going to spoil it a little bit.
I'm never going to read it.
If you're going to read this, you should. It's a great book. Impactful, great twist. But if you're going to read it, don't listen right now. So in issue 192, the one before, Rick Grimes gets killed.
Oh, shit.
They killed Rick Grimes. Now, this is the book Kirkman said it was going to be a never-ending zombie movie. We're going to follow Rick Grimes to the end. But as we've seen the show, he felt shit was getting kind of repetitive, and really, you have to end fucking somewhere. So 192, Rick Grimes is killed. 193, time jump, 25 years in the future. In the book, Carl is still alive. They live in this new world. Maggie is president. Michonne is a judge. Carl has a child with Sophia. And people, they called it the trials, the time of the zombies. And there's no more dead. People have almost forgotten what it was like, to the point where there's like a traveling carnival where the guy takes the last few walkers and takes them through town. And the kid doing this is Herschel, which is Maggie's kid with Glenn.
So they just stopped turning into zombies for no apparent reason.
They were all done. They killed them all. There's a statue for Rick Grimes in the middle of the town. And at the end, Carl reads his daughter a bedtime story, kind of telling him everything you have is because of Rick Grimes. You were here because of Rick Grimes, and kind of recaps. And 193, I would pick it up. It's a fitting conclusion. Even if you haven't been reading the book, it's a nice tie up. But 16 years, you guys, I think the TV show could probably take a page out of this. Maybe. What do you think?
What, end it? Yes. Absolutely.
Ending it? Sure. I mean, I haven't watched the TV show nor read the books.
Yeah.
I haven't watched a TV show in years and never read the books, so I don't know. Sure.
Like, it makes sense that, like, 10 years after this happens, like, at most, people will be like, all right, when somebody dies, you just put something through their head, and then no more zombies. Let's just round up everybody who's dead, unless someone dies somewhere else where no one sees them or in an accident.
Yeah.
It's just common procedure to put something through it, and then it would be over. The story would be over.
They got rid of them all. And even the book was getting kind of repetitive. Even at the end, they found this place called the Commonwealth with this female governor. And she had like these stormtrooper dudes in armors. It looked like a really great society, except she was really elitist and like kind of would shit on everyone who works for her. Didn't give a shit about the working people. Dwight wants to revolt and take over like they do wherever they go. And Rick's like, dude, what are you doing? Rick has to shoot Dwight in the head.
Oh, shit.
In 192 to stop him from causing a revolt. And then unintentionally causes a revolt in the soldiers, and they arrest the governor. The governor's shitty kid who comes in the night and shoots Rick in his bed.
Am I the only one sitting here? And my head is spinning with you describing all this. I don't understand anything that you're talking about.
That's how, listen, it's over. Basically, The Walking Dead, surprising last one.
You're throwing names at me that I haven't heard in 5 years.
I know. But look, this show isn't going anywhere. They've got multiple spin-offs planned. It's going to be going for probably another 10 years. So
they're going to milk that tit.
They're going to milk that
until it's a raisin.
But this is to say that the original source material was actually quite great and inspired this huge thing. I would check it out, listener. Read the comic books. Always better.
What do you mean? What do you mean though? Like check out this or start from the beginning?
Start from the beginning. Read the comic book.
Go and read 193 issues.
Hey, their biggest selling format are these giant compendiums.
Sure.
So you could just buy like a couple of these compendiums. But it's a quick read. These are page turners also. A lot of times there's just, there's not a lot of dialogue, and you could flip through an issue in like 10 minutes. Anyways, it's over. Listener, let us know if you are glad or sad The Walking Dead comic is over. Join our Facebook group, jockandnerd.com/contact, for the link. It is a closed group just for our listeners. Everyone's having a good time geeking out in there. More stuff ending. This one is another one that's getting a little more personal. DC Comics is closing their Vertigo Comics imprint.
Oh, shit.
That started in 1993. It's been running 26 years.
Right.
Ruggs, this was the book that in college, these books, like we have Hellblazer, Sandman, Preacher, Shade the Changing Man. This is when I got to college and I kind of stopped. I got burned out of superhero comics. You would graduate to Vertigo because they were a little more adult, and I love these books.
They had foul language.
There was adult situations, boobs, foul language, and it was a great, especially at the time of my life when I was like, in going to art school and college. You were like, comic books can be more than superheroes. Anthony, have you read any Vertigo comics at all?
Not when they were originally Vertigo, no.
But you were aware of the Vertigo imprint.
Yeah. Isn't Swamp Thing Vertigo?
Swamp Thing also Vertigo. They've done a lot of great stuff. Ruggs, will you miss these? They're not really going away. They're being folded into like their DC Black label now, which is for 17-year-old plus readers.
So like they're just changing Vertigo to Black label. I don't know why they even had to make a Black label.
So that they could show us Batman's penis. Remember that?
Oh shit.
So I mean, it's an unnecessary thing to make a Black label, but whatever. They're just changing the name and they're just moving them over. So it's just weird that it's not called Vertigo. Like that history isn't there.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Why the
they
Last
still exist,
Man?
the titles.
Yeah, go back. They gave us works from Alan Moore, Grant Morrison, Neil Gaiman, great artists. Like Chris Bocciolo drew Death, the High Cost of Living, and Shade the Changing Man. And now he draws Spider-Man from Marvel.
Right.
This seems like non-news.
I'm just sad that Vertigo's done because
but it's not done.
It's but the
name is done.
The imprint is gone.
Yeah, but
yes.
there's not as many books. Like I think they're paring it down to just the Swamp Things and the Sandmans,
right,
and stopping a lot of the other ones.
It's an unnecessary thing in this day and age because we have Image, and Image basically fills that void.
Right,
and there's tons of indie comics now.
Yep,
indies are like now more popular than they've been in a while. So.
Absolutely. And there was in 1993, at the height of superhero comic book saturation, you needed something like this before Image. But you are absolutely right. We have Image and indie comics are huge. So I'm just going to miss Vertigo. Here's another thing ending also that I'm going to miss a lot. Mad Magazine, running for 67 years since 1952, is also kind of shuttering any new content and going direct to consumer comic book stores, but they won't be printing any more new material. It's just going to be reprints.
They can't do what they do anymore anyway. And not in this climate.
Yeah.
Like Mad Magazine was the place where you would have like, off-color humor and things that were like a little bit over the edge.
Satire, parody, political satire, commentary.
Yes. And now you can't do it. You can't do it. This world won't accept that kind of comedy. They're not tolerant to that. So
this is a shame that we're losing this. Anthony, you must have read some Mad magazines back in the day.
Yeah, I've read some Mad. I was more of the Mad TV show guy.
Yes. Did you watch the TV show because you knew of Mad? What do you remember from Mad? Some of their favorite things
from the TV show?
No, from the comic book. If you remember,
all I remember from Mad is the big fucking like goofy looking dude on the cover every time.
Alfred E. Newman. What? Me worry with the big ears.
Yeah, that's all I remember. And then you flip through and you saw some stuff that you weren't supposed to see as a 8th grader.
Yeah, there was drawings of boobies in Mad Magazine too.
That was all my recollection of Mad.
Well, they had some of the best cartoonists, caricature artists
Mort
around.
Drucker, Sergio Aragonés.
Yes.
You had Spy versus Spy. You had amazing spoofs of big blockbuster movies. Right. And then you had the back, of course, where you would fold the back cover in to form a new picture and solve a riddle, which is an amazingly designed piece of illustration. Always blew me away.
It was funny stuff, and it was over the line,
yes.
And that's why I liked it.
It was like adult humor. It was subversive. It was counterculture. And it's sad to see this stopping because now we don't really have an outlet for that. Like nobody's doing that. And
I got that. I was into that maybe like I would say about 11, 12, 13 years old.
Yep.
Before Vertigo was big.
Yep.
Because that was like where you could get some adult content in the comic book store.
I have stacks of old Mad magazines on my mom's house next to all my comic books. Yo, moms, take care of my Mad magazines. That shit might be worth
another
money.
thing that's gone.
I also think that last issue of Walking Dead that I just got, 193, I think that may be worth a lot of money too because nobody was expecting that to happen. They probably didn't do a huge run of it. He even drew fake covers for the solicitations to make it look like Carl was going to die. The book was going to keep going. And then boom, the day before, I'm killing it. It's fucking crazy.
He probably like stashed like about 1,000 of them. And then like now he's going to use that to make
because I think everyone is trying to get this issue.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, I want to get it and I hate one.
I would try to snag it, man. That was crazy.
I hate it.
No one's ever done that. It's a good last issue. Okay. It's not all sad news. There's some happy news of things coming. One of my geek boner dreams.
Geek boner.
It looks like it's coming true. Netflix is officially ordering a Sandman series from Vertigo, from Neil Gaiman, also from Alan Heinberg, who wrote Wonder Woman, and David S. Goyer, which is like half and half. I don't know. You know, he's done good shit. He's done a lot of bad shit.
Yeah.
But Neil Gaiman is involved. They've revealed that it's going to be 11 episodes. And Neil Gaiman has said it's going to be the first trade paperback, Preludes and Nocturnes, and a little bit more. And like just 2 weeks ago, I was talking about Good Omens and how you can make a Sandman show and just make every trade paperback a season.
That's exactly what sold it.
They're fucking doing that. This is very exciting. It's perfect for a series on Netflix. Because I believe Joseph Gordon-Levitt was trying to make a movie of this for years, but you can't just make a 2-hour movie of Sandman.
No,
it's tradition. This is like known as the most one of the most unadaptable things that comics has.
So let's adapt it.
So this is a challenge. Yes, it's very ambitious to adapt it and to do 10-episode seasons on Netflix. I think it's the right way to do this.
I'm like skeptical on it because that Preacher. I was waiting for Preacher my whole life.
That was not quite.
And then I was just like, it doesn't really work as a TV show. It doesn't really work it only works in the comic books.
And that show got 3 seasons and out. Also, the Lucifer show, which apparently is really popular, but loosely based on the same Lucifer that's in the Sandman universe. I don't really like it, but it's on Netflix. It's got 4 seasons. I don't know if it'll cross over with that, and I hope it doesn't. Sandman started in 1989, joined Vertigo imprint 1993. Anthony, does this get you excited at all for Sandman? I think you.
I tried reading Sandman.
Oh, you did? Get out of here.
And I didn't really. I couldn't get into it.
I think it would be. It's one of those things that's like too weird for you, probably.
Yeah, I don't like the weird abstract shit. And Sandman was very weird.
I mean, it deals with concepts of emotion as people. Like it's death, and his brothers are delirium, destiny, destruction, death. So, and they're personified, and it goes through history. It's fucking great. If you like Good Omens, you're going to love Sandman. So I'm excited for that to happen. I got one piece of DC movie news. This is kind of hilarious. Remember there was going to be a Flash movie?
Right.
Ezra Miller.
Yeah.
Well, they've got
like that he responds. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
They've got yet another pair of directors and writer.
Oh, shit.
On this movie. Variety reporting it director Andy Muschietti is now going to direct the Flash standalone movie. And Ezra Miller still attached to play Flash. Let me give you a quick history of this fucking movie. All right. This is the most ridiculous shit because you should be able to get this right. It's not that hard. 2014, DC announces the movie. It's going to come out in 2018. They have Seth Grahame-Smith to write and direct. He drops out April 2016. June 2016, Rick Famuyiwa, who directed Dope, announced as the director. He goes to San Diego Comic-Con. He's on stage with all the director. He leaves the project October 2016. All throughout 2017, they're looking for directors for this movie. Robert Zemeckis, Matthew Vaughn, Sam Raimi, Mark Webb, Lord and Miller, all at some point in the conversation on the short list. February 28th, John Francis Daley, Jonathan Goldstein. They sign on to direct the film. Well, now they're not directing the film. Because in between that and this announcement, Ezra Miller takes a shot at writing the script, and the script was probably too dark. I think they want to do a lighthearted movie. Daley and Goldstein.
Of course they do.
Daley and Goldstein out. Muschietti is the 4th director attached to this movie in 5 years.
Oh, shit.
Let me ask you guys this. Is this movie ever getting made?
Who cares?
Why is this such a problem?
Nobody cares about Flash. Do you care about
He's
Flash?
a great character.
I don't really care either way. I wouldn't mind seeing a Flash movie. I think the problem is that they've obviously, as you mentioned, that they just can't figure out what kind of tone they want for it.
Yeah.
They've also decided to, even when we were talking about this when they first decided that they were going to cast a Flash in live action, is they have a successful TV show, so they have to try to figure out a way to distinguish themselves from that. So they're competing against themselves.
It's true. It's got to be hard. It can't be that. It's got to be.
It can't be that show.
That can't be that show. Because if you do it, you got to do it way better. But
then like you want it, like Ezra wants to take it dark.
Yeah.
But who's asking?
Nobody wants that.
Yeah, who says they want a dark Flash movie?
I don't know what's so hard about this. Just fucking look at the comic books.
Right.
And just do it.
Just the source material is there.
What's the big fucking deal? It's like a mystery that people are trying to figure out. It's like the tone is there.
Yeah. And I think you could set that. That's how you set yourself apart
It's
from
right
the show.
there.
Well, the thing is, they already set themselves up in a weird way because they cast it's Barry Allen, but he's acting like Wally West.
Yes. So that's confusing.
And he doesn't look anything like Barry Allen.
Right.
Nor act like him.
Yeah, right.
Like Barry Allen's a square guy. Wally West is more of the goofball.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And Ezra Miller is really like just a neurotic.
He's a weirdo.
Dweeb. Like, I don't even know
he's not the character
he's
at all.
nothing.
He's like a spazzy Barry Allen, but
he's not even like Wes. Well, yeah, he's nothing.
He's neither of those characters.
He's not even a real character.
No.
He's just a spaz.
Yeah, he's just like a one-liner machine for now.
It just bothers me that they have to sit there and try and figure out what this movie is when it's been figured out.
It's all been done in the comics.
And I feel like just, assholes, read a couple of comic books, swish it around, talk to some nerds.
There you go.
And then you'll figure it out right there.
Listen to Rug Boy, Warner Brothers. He's trying to help you motherfuckers.
How dare you do this to us?
Is there a reason that this has to be like such a Herculean task?
Well, it doesn't need to be super high concept. And now that they're not connecting these movies, just make a fun standalone Flash movie. There's lots to work with. I don't know.
It doesn't even matter what you do. I mean, look at what happened with Shazam.
Right?
Like, I mean,
yeah.
They just fucking vomited out some crap and made it funny, and then people liked it.
And it's a fun movie.
That's all you got to do now. There's not even a mystery of how to make people go to the movies. Make a funny movie, and everybody will go see it. I mean, will it be good? No, but like, people will see it, and, regular, like, the average mass will go. So, whatever.
I don't know.
I just don't understand how hard it is to make a fucking movie.
It's ridiculous. And this is a great character. I doubt this movie gets made, but if it does, I highly doubt Ezra Miller is still in the role if it ever does get made. Just get somebody else. It's fine.
Nah.
Last thing, let's find out if the Avengers Endgame re-release helped them overtake the Avatar box office. Spoilers, it didn't. Not quite. It only made, I believe, like 8 million in the re-release, which is not what they were looking for. Avatar made another 30 million in re-release, but it's firmly at number 2 all time for domestic and international. I think some of the problems was it was getting lambasted on the internet for this Hulk scene. You guys see screenshots of this?
I actually watched the Hulk scene.
Oh, you did? Will you please describe what happens? Because I said I was going to make it out, and I didn't. So
I didn't go either.
I didn't go. Whatever.
No, it's just a scene that right before they were going to cut to the Hulk of just the Hulk doing hero things. So he's saving people in like a fire or something, and he has everyone in a dish, like a
satellite dish is what I heard.
Yeah. And he drops the satellite dish, and then his mouth isn't moving, and he's not fully rendered, and it's not great.
No.
I mean, it's just a cut scene that would probably be on a DVD or something like that.
He's got like a different,
or not DVD.
He's got
Jesus
like
Christ,
the
Blu-ray?
Blu-ray. That's still DVD. I don't know.
He's got,
but I don't know. Is that like such an unfinished scene? It seems weird.
It was unfinished.
Yeah.
The problem with it was a clear money grab, so a lot of people could see right through it, and there wasn't really enough on there. It was this scene. It was a little tribute to Stan Lee, and then there was a scene from Spider-Man
from the
Far From
beginning
Home,
of the movie, right?
which you could see literally 2 days later.
Right.
So it just wasn't. People just saw that it was a money grab, and that's what it was.
And maybe this wasn't about topping Avatar, and it was just trying to get a buzz for Homecoming or Far From Home.
I think it was to top Avatar.
I mean, maybe a little bit of both, but
Well, I'm happy that it didn't.
yeah, sorry, Avatar's still number one.
It was lame.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna do something like that, like add like a scene into the movie
That
or
would have been
something.
great. Yeah. I mean,
do something for the fans that's like not going to be on the DVD, or that that it's not going to be if you just buy a standard DVD, a bonus scene that's in a deleted area or whatever. Just seems lame.
Nice idea, really weak effort. I mean, we talked about how Avatar, he added like 10 minutes of movie into the movie.
You also needed to if you were going to do this right, you should have delayed, You should have released something maybe in like the winter. Like, oh, here's a holiday bonus. Like more stuff from the movie, but this was too soon after the movie came out.
It was still in the theaters, too.
Right.
They fooled me.
Listen, when they did the Deadpool re-release, I told you guys then that it was going to be a crock of shit.
Yeah, that didn't work either.
And they added a bunch of scenes and this and that. I'm like, but that movie's not even good enough to go see again.
That's a good point. They added the whole thing with him reading to Fred Savage, and nobody went to see that. So
no.
And I'm surprised so many people saw this so many times. I'm kind of surprised that it didn't take Avatar. It got really, really close. So that's still huge.
You telling me there's going to be maybe 10 minutes of brand new footage in the movie?
Yeah.
Things fleshed out that weren't fleshed out. Maybe what the fuck's up with this 5-year gap thing? You know, maybe I would have checked that out, but like, it just didn't seem like anything of value was put in.
So. No. And, everyone saw that. Which is why it stays at number 2, but number 2 is not bad and made a fucking shitload of money. All right, let's take a break here. We're going to play some promos. We're going to come back and geek out about Spider-Man Far From Home right after this.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
And welcome to the Pittsburgh Nerd Podcast. I'm Sean.
And I'm Ian.
Hey, Ian.
Yeah.
Did you know you could find us on the Danger Entertainment Network?
Danger
Entertainment. That's right.
Sounds dangerous.
It is. It's a tad bit dangerous. You'd be shocked to find that out. There's a bunch of great podcasts you can find there. Our friends from the History of Bad Ideas podcast, Who to What Now, The Sodded Geek. No, they retired. That's right.
They retired.
But there are a bunch of other great podcasts you can find there, along with us. We're the Pittsburgh Nerd Podcast, and we do pop culture and chili cheese dogs and whatever else floats our fancy.
Yeah.
Check us out.
For sure.
For sure. We're on most podcatchers, so give us a look.
Peace.
We'll get you back to your regularly scheduled podcast in just a minute. But we wanted to introduce ourselves. I'm Jason.
I'm Jeff. And I'm Blake on this highly produced advertisement.
That's right. It's the History of Bad Ideas, a.k.a. Hobie. You can find us on Twitter at Bad Ideas Podcast and on Facebook at the History of Bad Ideas. But if you like a podcast roundtable with 3 to 5 guests, usually every week, depending on sick leave, talking about all things geek, including movies, TV.
I ain't getting paid for this shit.
Blake bitching about something and ranting, and comic books and anything else that we can think of. We have a top 5 list every week, along with a box office news, and somehow we have listeners, so they send us some feedback we answer every week. You can find us on iTunes,
Stitcher, Facebook,
Spotify,
and any good podcast app, because if you can't find us on that podcast app, it's not a good podcast app.
Damn straight. Roger says goodbye.
Goodbye.
And
Listener, join our awesome fan club. Visit jockandnerd.com/Patreon. Throw us a couple of shekels a month. You'll be supporting the show, and you get more show access to a whole nother RSS feed that has bonus content, post shows, instant reactions, movie reviews. All the shows come out early. This show, Anthony's spinoff show. And there's a new Jock Talk this week, Anthony, with our boy.
Their bottom is very weak.
yes, Mr. Chaz Hubbard and I are did a Jock Talk. So
Jock Talk, Summer Jock Talk is
Summer
back.
Jock Talk. There's nothing like Summer Jock Talk.
There is nothing, and that was nothing like Summer Jock Talk. No, I don't.
Are you guys talking about the women's soccers?
No, we didn't talk about that at all.
It's like the biggest thing
That is
going
the
on right
big
now.
thing, yeah, and the men's soccer's too.
No, we didn't talk about it. Maybe we'll talk about it next week. Who knows?
Oh,
I
okay.
wonder if Chaz.
It's a weird looking kitchen they're playing on.
Yes. What?
It's just
Soccer. It's like a bigger, slower hockey game. That's all. It's fun. Anyways, jockandnerd.com/Patreon. Check it out for bonus stuff.
I actually do watch the games at work.
Oh, the soccers?
Yeah, the women's one.
Yeah.
I mean, it got more attention because all the Megan Rapinoe, Donald Trump stuff.
Yep. That was great. Are you? Do you enjoy watching the soccer? It can be exciting.
World Cup. I only watch World Cup. And this is World Cup.
Yes,
so.
I've watched the World Cup. It's just like confusing that the clock goes up. Like I don't know what to do about that. Like there's no breaks. It keeps going. Instead of like a countdown. I know when it's going to end. The clock's going down. What is this shit? Anyways, do you realize we're going to be podcasting through our second Olympics very soon and second election? That's how long we've been Remember when we started? It was the election and the Olympics.
Really?
Yeah. And it's happening again. The cycle.
The Olympics this next
summer, 2020. Same year as the election.
Oh.
We've been podcasting through a whole administration in between Olympics. It's crazy.
Where are the Olympics at?
That's a good question.
Let me look it
I
up.
believe I'm going to say it's not London. It's in Asia. Am I right?
It is in Tokyo.
Oh, it's in Tokyo. Cool.
Ooh.
That's cool.
July 24th, 2020. Yeah, so you're away. In the meantime, we have a movie to review, Spider-Man Far From Home. Here's your spoiler alert.
Strap yourselves in, you fucks. Spoiler time.
Before we get to the opinions, let's go through some numbers. Boy, I got a lot of numbers. There's a lot of numbers attached to this movie. They're pretty crazy, but they're also very geek boner. Geek boner. This is the 23rd MCU movie in 11 years. That in itself is fucking nuts. This is the second Spider-Man movie.
Right.
The 7th live-action Spider-Man standalone movie. The 10th live-action appearance of Spidey. 11th appearance of Spidey overall in a movie, including animation. And the 5th time Tom Holland has played Spidey more than anybody else playing Spider-Man. And the final film of Phase 3 Infinity Saga of the MCU.
Oh, shit.
Holy shit, that's a lot of numbers. Here's another number, 92% tomato meter on the Rotten Tomatoes, 7.46 out of 10. Holding strong. As far as box office, we're recording on a Saturday of the release. This movie came out Tuesday, July 4th. It's now July 6th. Production budget of $160 million. So we don't have full opening weekend numbers, but you can guesstimate. By the way, this thing opened a week early worldwide. It's already past $300 million.
Jesus.
Worldwide.
Oh, shit.
Probably close to $400 million now if they haven't updated this box office mojo. But they're saying Forbes is looking at $177 million opening weekend. And it could go higher. So, holy shit. Case in point, I've seen this movie twice already. So, some of that money is mine. The movie. I didn't help the Avatar. I didn't help the Endgame, but I helped this movie. This movie, once again, directed by John Watts and starring your crew of the Tom Holland, Sam Jackson, Marissa Tomei, Jon Favreau, Zendaya, Jacob Batalon, Tony Revolori, Angourie Rice, new Samuel L. Jackson, this is the second Spider-Man movie, Jake Gyllenhaal, of course, playing Mysterio, Remy Hee from Crazy Rich Asians. I believe he was in Crazy Rich Asians.
Was he?
Yeah, I think he was playing Brad Davis. And then Martin Starr and J.B. Smoove, always hilarious, and a bunch of other people. All right, look, let's get to opening thoughts. Who do I want to go first? Anthony.
Hello.
You go first.
I was just looking up how old Remy Hee is. He's 31 years old.
Oh, and he was playing like a 21-year-old, wasn't he?
Was he 21 or was it?
I don't know.
I was confused. Was he 21 or was he like a few years younger and aged up to be their age?
I didn't get what happened with that either.
So what I'm saying is maybe he was he was the kid that everyone was like, oh, that kid's like a little fucking nerd. Like when he was like in 8th grade, and now he's their age.
That's why he's with them, but maybe.
That's because it would be really weird if he was 21 hanging out with 18-year-olds.
You just explained a huge thing, because I was also confused.
I was very confused, but I think that's what it is.
Oh, and so
that's the way you could make it make sense.
That's the only way. I'm like, why is this 21-year-old in their fucking class? But he's not. Right. He's their age, but he's 31 years old.
But he's 31 years old
in
real
Asian,
life.
So
yeah, I'm just amazed at how much he looks like he's just 20.
Yeah, he does.
Anyways, opening thoughts. I liked the movie. I thought it was better than Homecoming. I haven't seen it twice, so I don't have like a full grasp of my complete thoughts on it. But I think it was better than Homecoming. It's still like I would say it doesn't reach the level of the first two Raimi Spider-Mans.
Mm-hmm.
I think what they're doing. It feels like the stories they're telling are just like days in the life of Peter.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so there's not a ton of other than the end, there's not a ton of like gravitas to what's going on. It's just like, this is another adventure with Peter Parker. I get the sense that these are like the stories before he's a fully realized neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of his like formative years. But overall, I liked it. I liked the stuff with him and Zendaya. I think that's the best stuff in the movie. I like the aspect of it being still feeling like a teenager movie.
Yeah.
And then like the third act stuff, we hit spoilers, right?
Yeah, spoilers.
Okay.
Spoiler alert.
And the third act stuff with Mysterio, just all the visuals, I didn't really expect them to go that crazy with it, so I was pleasantly surprised. Overall, I like the movie. It's not a home run. It's not like they're trying. I don't think they're trying to knock it out of the park. I think they're just trying to make fun adventure movies with Spider-Man in a teenage setting. So if that's the case, then they're doing well at that.
Right on. Ruggs, I know what Anthony thought because we did our instant reactions, and this is why I always love hearing your reaction because I don't know what you thought, and I'm sure the listeners are dying. Opening thoughts. What'd you think coming up Far From Home? I'm going to say you liked it.
I love this movie.
I
love this movie.
I was going to use that for my opening thoughts, but I'm really happy.
It's the greatest movie I've ever seen.
Are you being sarcastic?
I give it 100.
Fuck off.
100%.
All right, stop being a dick.
100%.
What the
on
fuck?
Rotten Tomatoes.
Yes.
I feel like I saw this movie already. And it was called Homecoming.
Oh, no.
It's the same fucking movie.
A little bit, okay.
It really is.
Okay.
He's on a trip.
Yeah.
He's on a class trip, and every fucking time we see Spider-Man, even in fucking the Infinity War movie, he's on a bus going somewhere.
They're always going on a trip somewhere.
This school is always going somewhere
It's a
on a
great
trip.
school.
He goes to a trip in DC. He goes to a trip in this other movie where he has to jump out of the bus and swing up to help Iron Man. And then here he's on another trip. So he's on a trip. Yeah. He likes a girl. All right. He liked the girl in the first movie.
Now he likes a different girl.
For a mysterious reasons that we don't know. Yeah. And then basically he's worried about getting this girl. And then he gets a father figure kind of dude that he looks up to. And then ends up fucking being the bad guy, which is the same thing as the other.
And also another bad guy caused by the fallout from Tony Stark.
Yeah. It's the same fucking movie. Except it's got a different visual bent on it. He's still, Tony Stark's like protege and like continuation and whatever. So it's like all the stuff that was present in Homecoming is present in this movie. It really doesn't change. I was like, maybe this push in a different direction, maybe this expanding on this Peter will make me like him more, or maybe like the Spider-Man more. It didn't. I like it basically the same as I did Homecoming, which was like, I'm kind of like, about it.
Yeah.
I didn't hate this movie. I wasn't like, I could understand a person going to see this movie and loving it.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's a fun, entertaining film.
Yeah.
And it's great in that way. I do think that there was some like major, weird stuff going on. But I don't know. It's just weird. It's just my feeling on Spider-Man. Everybody knows I'm kind of like, I'm not 100% tied to what Peter Parker is from my childhood.
Sure.
I understand that you could take liberties and things like that, but I just feel like it's too far. And it's almost like, did you ever read the book Frankenstein?
Mary Shelley?
Yes.
No. I mean, I know the story. I never actually read the book.
Okay. No, you don't know the story really because they
changed it.
The version that everybody knows is nothing like the book. And it's a shame because if you ever read Frankenstein, it's so much better.
Because isn't the monster have a little more personality or is more nuanced?
The monster is basically he's kind of like a mind wiped human and basically he learns to read, he learns to express himself, he becomes very eloquent.
Yeah.
And and he can express his feelings of existential like strife towards his maker.
Wow.
And he's like, why did you abandon me? Why did you make me?
Yeah.
All of these things. And what we see is a green dude with bolts coming out of that going,
now it's
a
universal monster.
It destroys the whole entire thing, but everybody thinks that that's Frankenstein. So I think there's a whole new generation that they're not going to get all of that depth that if you would have read Mary Shelley's Frankenstein in Spider-Man. I mean, they've taken out a lot of that. So it's a new normal. It's a new Spider-Man. It's a new replacement, I guess, or it's going to superimpose like what actually was great and endured about Spider-Man for like 60 plus years or whatever. But the movie is not in a mess. It's not like this big fucking, terrible thing. Right. It's just like it's just off the mark for me. That's fine. Okay. And I think that people can enjoy it. Do I think it gets a 98 on Rotten Tomatoes?
92
from me, or whatever. Yeah. I thought it was from the audience score. It was like a 98.
Audience score is at 97. You are correct.
Yeah. So I don't know if I would go that high. I would probably at the highest be like an 84.
Mm-hmm. Damn, he already gave his rating.
Damn it! Now and the show's over. Thanks for checking us out this week.
But I do think that there's a lot of hyperbole, a lot of like energy going into this of it, people wanting to love it. That usually, if you put it into perspective of all the other movies, like Anthony said, it's not hitting a home run. So whatever. So that's my thought on. I can get into details later.
Here's my.
I know you love it.
Well, here's my opening thoughts, and
I love this movie.
No, I had a lot of fun at this movie, and everything you said, Ruggs. I was just thinking it really resonates, but because I did really want to love it, and this version. This is a different version of Spider-Man, and they've mushed a lot of things, but his journey in this universe. The way they've done it, the way they're kind of slow playing him. He's still kind of Spider-Boy. He's still on his way to be Spider-Man. But this movie definitely, I think there was a lot of growth for Peter, he's eventually going to where, the old school traditional Spider-Man fans like. Now, I will admit that Marvel has beaten me down, and Tom Holland is so fucking goddamn likable that I've started to kind of really enjoy, his version of Spider-Man. The fact that this movie had to juggle so many things, and I think it does it effortlessly. It's like, it's a great capper to this 23 movies to the Infinity Saga, but it also maintains the John Watts fun teen rom-com through line of the other movies. And then the fucking shit, the bombshells they drop in the post-credit scenes. Holy shit, kind of pointing the way forward. I thought it juggled all these things very well. The cast performances were great. Yeah, I loved a lot of the action scenes, the plot twists. I even thought the humor landed. But yes, this is not our Spider-Man, but this is going to be the definitive Spider-Man for a lot of people.
Yeah, well, basically what they're doing is they Frankensteined Spider-Man.
Yeah, they Frankensteined all the shit.
They chop out all of the guts.
From Ultimate,
but even with
Miles,
the reveal at the end.
Yeah.
Even with the reveal at the end with J. Jonah Jameson, in Spider-Man being unmasked, all of that's done in an instant. You don't get any of that interplay between Jonah and Peter Parker. You get none of that, the fact that they know each other and all this other stuff, and the horror of him finding out that these kids that he has taken a shine to is really the fucking guy that he hates.
But they had already undid this at the end of Homecoming with May finding out that he's fucking Spider-Man.
Yeah, so all of this stuff is gone. Like, they've gutted so much.
And it's just going a different direction, and it's updating. I can't admit that this is makes more sense now, because this kid wouldn't be interested in photography to work at a newspaper. Everyone has a fucking camera. Nobody reads newspapers. The way these kids act, especially Zendaya, that chemistry between Zendaya and Tom Holland was so adorable and so current, and it worked really well. Like, she comes off as a badass, except when she's with him, you can see her be a little bit goofy, and they're both really goofy, and it's just so cute. It seems so sincere. Let's talk about the cast. Jake Gyllenhaal, fucking A, dude. They wrote him so sincere that halfway through, even I was like, maybe he's not a bad guy this time. I don't know. Maybe they're actually, he got me. And then even though that reveal where he gets the glasses and then he just dumps exposition, it's an exposition dump.
I hate that he got the glasses.
Well, Peter's making some dumb decisions. He played on this kid's fucking naiveness and inexperience. Makes sense. Like, the way he explained it, the callbacks to all the movies throughout this movie were also great. There's so many good things about this movie. Anthony, what other cast performances did you like?
I did like the Jake Gyllenhaals. I thought it was good. I wanted to touch upon the Zendaya Tom Holland chemistry. Yes. I thought they were really good together. I didn't quite understand at first why he liked her.
Yeah.
Because they just kind of start the movie with, oh, he likes her.
Yeah.
So I wish
All
we
of a
would have got
sudden,
some.
yeah.
I wish we would have got some like reasoning for why he would like her. But their chemistry together was so good that I was just like, okay, fine, I'll just go with it. But I was a little bit critical of the fact that like, but why does he like her?
Yeah, out of nowhere.
I did like though that she's now not so like
guarded.
I don't even know, not guarded. It was like she's not trying to point out the like this social justice sort of thing as much.
Oh,
in this.
yes. Yeah. There's that. Yeah. There's that one line.
She
where she's
jokes
messing
around
with him.
about it, but
Yeah.
she's more like playing it off like she's just this awkward teenager
who's into like serial killers and dark
Right.
shit. And like, that's
Yeah.
a lot of kids these days. Like you see a lot of kids like that.
So I liked their chemistry. I thought that honestly that was the best part of the movie. I was actually laughing out loud when Betty and Ned
Oh my
just
God.
become boyfriend
So
girlfriend on a plane ride.
Babe.
Yeah.
So you're like, what the fuck? No. And then they break up.
And I equally laughed when they come home and they're not a couple anymore.
Yeah,
because honestly that like resonates with me in terms of just like high school
Yes.
like teen romance.
Yes.
Like you become a boyfriend girlfriend and then after a week and you're like, nah, we're not
At
dating
that
anymore.
age, yeah.
But do you do it in like
a matter of a week?
A few hours?
Yeah, it was like, well, how long were
Do
they
you
on
like
the trip?
like do you be we're boyfriend and girlfriend in like 2 hours?
I remember doing that. Maybe not in high school, but I do remember doing that when I was probably like 10.
Younger.
Yeah, younger.
Yeah, this is like for like you're like
It was a
pubes.
It was a goof moment. It was just like a that's kind of funny.
Well, I don't know.
Babe.
Like one of those things like we could shit on like other movies for having like weak things like that, but when it's Spider-Man, we just gloss over it.
Yeah,
just
but
a
it's
goofy
a side
thing.
fucking funny thing.
Yeah, it's not a major plot point.
But yeah, it is because it's like
How
these
is it a major
relationships
plot point?
It's not a major plot point,
Yeah,
but
it's,
I mean,
it's kind of irrelevant
It's
to the
an
whole situation.
Easter egg too to Betty Brant and Ned Leeds in the comic books.
Well, I think that they should have aged. First of all, I think that it's bad. It would have been cooler if Ned was aged up 5 years and Betty was aged up 5 years, so they could be both working at the thing. And
That would have been cool.
And that would have been a trial for him to go through with his friend.
Yeah.
And he would go back to being a little bit more lonely in high school again, and that would have been better for the character, but they didn't do that. And then I want to go back to the whole thing with Jake Gyllenhaal getting the glasses.
Yeah.
Jake Gyllenhaal worked for Tony Stark.
Yep.
All right. He got fired by Tony Stark for being a weirdo and being like unstable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he puts the glasses on and it retinal scans him and it doesn't notice that this is a guy that used to work for Tony Stark and should not be wearing the glasses at all. If this thing is like the sentient super AI.
Well, Peter handed over controls. She had to listen to Peter.
I don't know. I don't know. I find that I don't think Tony Stark would like allow that loophole to exist. If he's put a suit of armor around the world, so I feel like that was just like, all right, we're going to, the whole idea of Mysterio using all of this tech, even though I like the fact that they tried to work in all the other movies.
Yeah.
I feel like that him being tied to Tony Stark is bad.
Well, but it's like the Vulture. Then Tony Stark's fingerprints are all over this movie still.
Yeah, I mean they're very much leaning into the Tony Stark crates. I don't necessarily like all the Tony Stark lean. Like I don't like that. I don't like the fact that he's still using suits created by Tony. Like Tony needs his suits because he's a man.
Right.
Spider-Man doesn't need his suits because Spider-Man's Spider-Man. Like he has powers beyond the suit.
I do like how we see him improvise and actually be smart in this movie. There's, he builds his own suit. He builds that bomb when he runs out of webs with the shield and throws it into the drones. He's starting. And then when he finally trusted his spider sense to get him through it, that was fucking awesome. I was waiting for something like that.
I'll tell you about the best thing in this movie is it's kind of like Batman versus Superman in that there's the greatest Batman scene in that movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, that's Batman. This is like, got one of the best Mysterio scenes in the movie. And it's not when Mysterio is doing the elemental thing. It's when he's got Peter in the warehouse.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, that's the best
and
part.
And he's doing the fucking Mysterio visions and stuff and putting him in different situations. That's right out of the comic books. And that's the one time I was in this movie not rolling my eyes and I was going, they fucking nailed that shit. They fucking nailed that shit.
I like this
to the nth
Mysterio.
degree.
Yeah.
And that almost pushed me over to the edge to liking this movie a lot. But like, then there was stuff with the glasses and this and that. The relationship's happening really fast and kind of like super convenient stuff going on that I was like, it's kind of like if this was in another movie, people would be bitching about this. So I was just like, I can't like not bitch about it because I bitch about it in other movies.
Sure.
So I gotta be fair. So, so I have to take them to task for a lot of the mistakes in that.
Dude, that Mysterio shit, just like in the second Sam Raimi movie who came out of the that was a comic book come to life. This movie,
I wasn't expecting them to. Sorry, Imran. I wasn't expecting them to go that crazy with it.
And I was so happy they did.
And there's so many callbacks to the comic books. There's so many Easter eggs in this movie. We'll get into a lot of them.
My favorite visual is the Iron Man coming out like half
Zombie
skull.
Iron Man was great. The giant, when his hand is giant and punches through the house, like that's a cover of Spider-Man where Mystique is giant in a carnival. They nailed that stuff. And overall, Quentin Beck, who's been described in, various instances as an elite stuntman, a failed actor, a scientist, a master illusionist. I like how they combined all this, and I like how it cleverly fits into the MCU, even though it's another character. They did that in the other Spider-Man movies where Osborn created all of his bad guys. This one seems like Tony Stark is creating all of Spider-Man's rogue gallery.
You're right.
But the costume was great. The fucking fishbowl head. And great performance by Gyllenhaal, because I bought it. I was almost like, maybe he's not a bad guy.
Maybe he's not a bad guy. No, I knew he was going to be a bad guy.
But he was so sincere. There was so much heart in his talks to Peter.
No, the thing that really bothers me is that the bullshit excuse that that Mysterio gives for why he's there, it's like a waste of the 616, and it's basically thrown away.
Yeah, there may be some
the multiverse,
maybe, but yeah,
the J.K. Simmons thing might.
That could still prove there's a multiverse, but also, yeah, the current MCU was like Earth 19999, I believe.
Yeah, so right now there really is no multiverse.
Well, so in this movie though, John Watts does a lot of misdirection with the Easter eggs, like the elementals. They're not Hydro Man, Molten Man, Cyclone, but that
would have been better, by the way.
But during those scenes, there are Easter eggs referring to the first appearances of all those characters.
Right.
But also the elementals are characters in the comics. So these are all just kind of like neat little misdirection pieces setting up the whole first half of the movie.
Yeah, I think that was a missed opportunity too, is not using these guys, Hydro Man and all these other dudes.
They actually say Hydro Man's name when Flash is reading the BuzzFeed article.
Because it would be cool to find out that not only maybe he uses some of these hologram drones and stuff to kind of embellish what's going on.
We still got
But for me to believe that all of these drones are doing this and no one's seeing through it and all the damage is being done exactly how are the drones creating water and making things wet? It's like they're not. So no one's going to notice that nothing's wet. Or nothing's hot.
I thought
the physics behind the drones is almost impossible. It is impossible.
It's
I don't
wacky.
know. Yeah, I think the way I conceptualize it is the drones can fire or create like pulses, so then the water can come out of actual water. Like they can fire a pulse into the river.
And shoot the water, just like they shoot actual.
I mean, if you think about that too much, it's going to be.
Yeah, it's just. I also would have rather seen Spider-Man fight actual people than drones. I feel like that's a letdown too.
Yeah.
That at the end he's just smashing drones, and I'm like, is that like the action sequence that I wanted? It's cool that he uses his powers like Daredevil, and that was actually cool in that hallway scene at the end.
Yeah, where he closes his eyes.
But for that whole rigmarole where he's running around and trying to web drones, I was like, this is it? He's going to be webbing drones? I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm like, they did it as cool as they could do it.
It looked great, and he used his taser webs.
I actually agree with Ruggs on this. So the two villains that they've had are both human.
Yeah.
So he really can't, with Vulture and in this movie, Mysterio. So he really can't go all out.
No, he's going to kill him.
So that's one of my critiques, is that he doesn't have a competent foe to fight where he can actually fight them.
Yeah, and I don't think they want Spider-Man punching people.
No, and we said that they weren't going to show that. I remember before Homecoming came out, they're we're never going to show Spider-Man punching people.
It's just I don't know, it just takes away a lot for me. It just doesn't make it as, I don't know, compelling for me. If he's just beating up drones, beating up robots. It's like in the Star Wars prequel. Everything's a drone.
Yeah, it's all CGI drones.
Yeah.
I think a little bit, some of this goes back to Anthony's comment, and I felt the same thing as like it's fun, it's lighthearted. Some of the weight is not still there because of that. These guys are just people, and
they're putting people in danger.
Yeah.
And that's like the thing that actually makes it have tension. But I don't know. There's like,
I'll tell you,
It's
okay.
like, do they kill anyone?
Well,
No. Does anybody die? No.
The tension that they're creating, which I like, is they're basically taking Peter. So, and it is Spider-Man. He wants to have a normal life. So he wants to be on this trip with his girl and tell her he likes her. And every time he has to tell her he likes her, something comes up.
Yep.
So like the superhero stuff gets in the way of him wanting to just live a normal life, which happens with a lot of heroes, but they don't play it up as much in the other Marvel movies as much
Spider-Man
as this one.
for sure. Yes.
But I also think that the fact that everybody knows he's Spider-Man, like his Aunt May and his friends know.
Well,
and
no,
everything
everybody
like that.
knows, but yes,
And
a lot of people knew
now
he was
everybody
fucking
knows,
Spider-Man in this movie.
and
Yes.
now everyone knows. I think, and she knew.
She figured it out.
So she figured it out. It kind of takes away a lot of the tension, and a lot of people were saying, well, you can't do a secret identity now because of cameras and this and that and whatever. But like, first of all, he's got Tony Stark technology to help hide his whatever. He just rips his mask off all the time because he needs screen time.
Yes.
Right. So that's dumb. They could do it, and they've been doing it in all these other TV shows for years, having a secret identity. And it never really bothers
The
anyone
MCU
there.
doesn't really do the secret identity thing.
No, they
in
don't, because
general.
it gets in the way of actors needing to get their face out there.
Let's be realistic. These people they make money with their faces.
Well, actually, I would have appreciated. So I didn't mind that MJ found out.
Yeah,
I think they went too quickly into the world finding out. I think there would have been nice tension or nice drama in another movie if now she's having to keep the secret for him.
Yes,
so she's working with him like on trips, and like him when her and Ned are now like, there's a distraction over there. Like they got because at the end of the day, it's pretty fucking obvious he's Spider-Man, right?
It kind of is.
2 Clash trips, he disappears, Spider-Man shows up. Like, who's not going to figure that out?
Aunt May not worried at all about him being Spider-Man. Nothing. Like, just not even be, hey, I'm packing your suit in case you want to kick some ass.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Aunt May, I want to bring up real quick.
Okay.
This was the first time where I'm like, she is hot. But this was the first time where I'm like, ugh. Like, I don't really like this. Because, like, they focus on her ass at one point, and I'm just like, I don't think I should be feeling like Aunt May like this. Like, she's walking around in, like, these high like, waisted jeans, and she looks great.
She looks more like Mary Jane than Zendaya.
Oh, shit.
But I was just like,
got red hair.
Shit. Yeah.
I'm not feeling that, like, it's just played up for her to be hot.
And she didn't really have a lot
to do. She's not really his
in this movie.
His guiding light or anything.
Yeah.
She's just a joke, and she's hot.
He doesn't worry about her. She doesn't worry about him. There's nothing. It's so empty. I don't know.
I would agree
It's
with that.
different.
Their relationship isn't the same.
It's different.
It's definitely different.
She didn't really have a lot to do either. Although I love, some of the things, let's talk about some of the things we love.
It's
that work.
Tony Stark wanted to bang her.
Yes.
Now Happy
Hug.
is going to bang or probably bang her.
Happy's like looking up in the sky going, this one's for you, Tony, man.
He even grew like a Tony
Yes.
Stark thing so he could bang her more.
That's funny. He's like, it's my blip beard. Grew in the blip. What do we think about the blip? Calling it the blip?
I enjoyed it just because it's such a weird, like, it's such a thing that, like, if you focus on it too much, as we tried in some of our reviews, your head will start to fucking
many
hurt.
questions.
There's so many goddamn questions. So to just in a Spider-Man movie to make it comedy, I think that was kind of the best way to just like acknowledge it, but let's just get over this real quick.
I think it works, especially after
like with the band showing up in the fucking.
So, but are they saying everyone showed up in the exact same spot? How many people got killed by cars when they showed
will
up?
Make you fucking hurt your head.
How many people just
so you
died
can't do it
instantly?
Well, that's why you can't
when they
talk about it too much.
Yeah, critics completely don't have a problem with this, but they have a problem with a guy that used to work with Monarch knowing shit about animals. Like, it's just like, oh, how come he knows things? Well, he worked for fucking Monarch. It makes a little bit more sense. But like this, like, no one can explain it. It makes no fucking sense. Everybody loves it.
They come right back.
I think it's one of those things, though. It's that this director was thrown this thing.
No,
Like,
he knew. He knew.
I know he knew, but
ending.
it's not a consequence of his.
That's true. He's got to work this in.
He's got to work this into his movie.
Yeah.
So the best way to do it is to just talk about it in the first minute as a joke and then move on. Because like I keep stressing, if you think about it too much, it'll bog down the entire
what
fucking
if you
universe.
were on a plane and you
But
came back in the air?
That's the thing that fucking mystifies me is it should bog you down.
Right.
You should, like, just like in any other review for any other movie, people get stuck on things like that. But here we don't even question it.
How many people
we don't get
fell
bogged down
to their death from the sky because they were on a plane and the
They're
plane
still
wasn't
talking
there? What the fuck? So, yeah. Don't think about it too much. But John Watts said that he knew from Infinity War, he knew the whole what was going to happen and had to keep it a secret.
But this is a consequence of what they did in Endgame.
Right. But
you would literally couldn't. Every movie would be fucked up.
Yes.
Every movie's gonna be fucked up unless you just not acknowledge it.
So that's why I kind of like the way this worked as a better like palate cleanser than Ant-Man and the Wasp did because it's it's in the present.
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Can I just say that In Memoriam video at the very beginning is fucking hilarious, especially because we had a jukebox in our high school and every day that fucking Whitney Houston song would play all the time on the goddamn jukebox. So I heard that. It instantly took me back to high school. And it was just so funny where you had the Getty images on there and the pixelated vision picture that they just got from the internet. Really funny. Okay. Some other things they changed because maybe it's too on the nose to call Spider-Sense the Spider-Sense. Peter Tingle, kind of funny. I don't know. I thought it was funny because he's just going to be like, I got a spider sense. Like, I don't know. Eventually, do you think they'll call it spider sense?
Probably eventually, yeah.
I did like the tingle. I thought that was kind of funny. What else? Do you think Mysterio faked his death?
It could be possible.
I thought he got shot by his own drone.
I thought maybe.
I have to rewatch it.
But like he got that video out at the end somehow.
You know what? Why don't we talk about the two credits?
Okay, let's get to the fucking holy shit.
Because those are actually like significant credits, post-credit scenes. They're not bullshit.
No, and it's the first time in a long time they've given us two huge fucking.
The one in the middle is like universe changing in terms of what they're doing for the character.
Let's start with all the things. First of all, the Daily Bugle exists, but it's a website, and it's like an Alex Jones InfoWars conspiracy type website. Makes sense. I'm with it.
Sure.
Fucking J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson. I was like, oh shit! And there was kids around me. I felt really bad.
When that happened, I literally had my mouth open. Like,
why do you think they did that? They could have cast another J. Jonah Jameson. They could have.
Why did they choose? Who's better than J.K. Simmons?
It doesn't really matter who's better. It just
why would they do it? I think because he's the perfect. There's a lot of things tying in. The multiverse.
There's no other actors that can play J. Jonah Jameson.
I think they did it because they think he's the best.
And people want to see him back.
And it was a nice little nod to be like, oh, cool. That's awesome.
I think that either if there's no reason to do this
unless there's a multiverse,
unless that it means something, and if it doesn't mean something, then fuck you. There's no point in doing it. I mean, there's no point. It's just like it's fan service at that point.
I think they did it with the open mind of it could be something, or it could be nothing.
And I didn't think they would ever give us that. I mean, I think they knew the fans wanted that, and they wouldn't because whoever they put, everyone would have been like, you should have used J.K. Simmons. He was the perfect. And to acknowledge that they acknowledge the Raimi movies in this, they acknowledge the comic books. Maybe there is a multiverse. Does that mean there's a Toby Spider-Man out there? I don't know. Okay. Next big reveal, Mysterio gets a video out revealing Spider-Man as Peter Parker to the world. This has happened in the comics. Happens differently in the comics.
Well, it also kind of, not to this extent, but it makes what J. Jonah Jameson's character does, where he just rallies New York against Spider-Man.
Yes, and then this is another traditional Spider-Man.
He has a direct cause in doing this.
He's a menace. He's a criminal, just like in the comics. That's what I like about this.
The thing that confused me about this is why didn't they use a shot from Mysterio's video that showed Peter in the Spider-Man suit with his face showing. They didn't. They just put a picture of Peter
That is
Parker
kind of
there.
weird. So he could still deny
that
it.
leaves a room
plausible
for
deniability. Yeah.
So it was weird that that's how they decided to do it. I'm not really that, pissed off about this because even in early issues of Spider-Man, he was unmasked. Like, remember he was fighting, I think he was fighting somebody and he was like,
Doc Ock
he had a cold.
Yep.
And like he couldn't fight Doc Ock.
Doc Ock pulls his mask
kicked.
off, but then they like make up some stupid excuse.
They're like, look, he didn't do anything spidery because he was so sick he couldn't use his powers.
Right, yeah.
It was so lame, the story. But they had plausible deniability and then like he ended up, she was just wearing Spider-Man's costume.
What does this mean for the next movie for his character moving forward and cameos? This is crazy. In the comics, if you read Civil War, he, because of Tony, his encouragement at a press conference, he removes his mask, tells the world, I'm Peter Parker, I've been Spider-Man since I'm 15.
They undid that right away.
And then nobody liked that, but then they had to undo it with Mephisto in one more day, brand new day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now you're talking about making a deal with the devil to change everyone's memory, except for MJ, to bring it back. How the fuck do you get him out of this now? How do you...
I think it does create, though, I mean, you're already asking, it does create an interesting spin for the next movie. Is how the fuck is he going to get out of this?
Everyone knows.
Well, maybe he doesn't. The easiest thing for him would be to lean into it and beat the next Tony Stark. There's really, they haven't built any reason for him to not be out. There's nothing.
There really isn't.
Nobody's threatened Aunt May.
Yeah.
No one's threatened his friends, really.
Well, the friends were, Mysterio does say, I'm going to kill I'm going to kill Ned and MJ.
But that doesn't seem to rattle him at all, or it doesn't really. He doesn't really seem to be affected by that. It's just kind of something that they're collateral damage because he's there and whatever. So they're put in danger because of the whole nature of him being on the class trip and all that other shit. So I don't know. I don't really think
There's a lot of ways they could take.
There's no reason for the way that they've written him here.
Yeah.
In the comic books, he would never want to be discovered. Right. Here, it doesn't really matter.
Right,
he can totally just go with it and beat the next Tony Stark.
Well, he does, but he does mention in this film that he doesn't like that on his class trips, his classmates are in danger.
Yeah.
And that's directly because he's Spider-Man.
I mean, you do get that sense that
you do get that he wants to just
wants
be
to have a normal life.
Yes, but he knows he puts his friends in danger by being Spider-Man. You get that sense too.
See that is completely contrary to who he was in the first movie. In the first movie, he didn't want to have a normal life. He wanted to be an Avenger.
No, but I think that's the character's
growth here.
He doesn't want it. He's realizing that being an Avenger isn't everything he thought it would be. It actually endangers his family and his friends.
Yeah, but see, I don't know if I would go back to being the way that they've written him in the Marvel comics. It's completely different the way that they've handled him.
100%.
Yeah.
In here, his trajectory would be okay, I'm now an Avenger. I don't need to have a normal life anymore because I can really impact the world with all of this stuff now. Why would I go back to high school? There's no reason. My aunt knows. It's not like I have to keep up the life for her. There's no reason for him to be in a normal life.
Well, they've inverted it in this one.
Yeah.
In this story.
But I mean, just writing wise, there's no narrative to why he should want to be a normal kid because he's already evolved past being a normal kid. He's fucking been to outer space. He's been doing there's no reason anybody would want to go back to normal life now.
I mean,
he
enjoys being Spider-Man to some extent too. He's always
up until the reveal at the end that he's out as Spider-Man. Yeah. I definitely thought that they were going in the direction of him realizing that he just wants to be a neighborhood Spider-Man.
Right.
He doesn't want to be an Avenger. Being all that stuff has a lot of things that are going to affect him in ways that he didn't realize. Being a hero isn't everything he made it up to be. So I thought they were eventually, that's why I thought that this was another story in him becoming Spider-Man, because he's realizing, oh man, my family's in danger. I have to go to fucking space all the time. This isn't right. This isn't cool. I'm 16 years old. I want to just kiss the girl.
He is still becoming Spider-Man though, clearly.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But this reveal in the mid, now I'm just whoa, where are they going with this?
I don't know. How do you put that back in the bottle? What the fuck? That's crazy.
It's like they just stampeded over so much stuff, to get to here.
Yeah, but I love the setup. I love the setup for.
And that's the only thing that they could have really done to make him interesting, in the next movie, or
is
to
tell
have some
everyone
kind of a is to make some kind of a vehicle to make him interesting.
You got to turn him into a bad guy right now, and that's what he is to the public.
I can't wait until the public, we see him and the public hates him.
That's what the comic did so great.
Yeah.
Is that they had this guy who was hell bent on making him into the bad guy, and he had to, work for this dude and smile at him every day. There's no tension there now. He had to go to work.
Yeah, he just comes out of nowhere blasting Spider-Man. He doesn't know Peter.
That's true.
Yeah.
So what is the connection? They could fucking write something in. All right. Then the end-to-end credit scene gets even crazier as it reveals Nick Fury, Maria Hill, were Talos and his wife, the Skrulls, the whole time in this movie. I don't know about before, but in this movie, Nick Fury, Maria Hill were Skrulls.
I think it's for this movie, but it does open up the case that he's been. I saw something online that, from Screen Crush, that they're saying that he's been a Skrull since Age of Ultron.
Well, yeah, we don't know. I mean, if he's known, if Captain Marvel happened in the 90s, maybe. So also further revealing Nick Fury has been in space this whole time on what looks like the Peak, which is the space station for the organization SWORD, which is a cosmic outer space version of S.H.I.E.L.D. SWORD stands for Sentient World Observation and Response Department, and they take care of cosmic threats. So is he out there? Because there's another big cosmic threat working, and he sent them down.
Doesn't he mention Skrull Nick Fury mentions about like Kree stuff?
Sleeper cells. Yes, he goes, I thought these were supposed to be secret.
So this almost felt like a tease for the next Captain Marvel movie.
Possibly, and you see Kree sleeper cells also in the Inhumans and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They've kind of been mentioned. There's a bunch of clues, though. If you watch it again, when I watched it again, I read some things. There are clues. It explains why Nick Fury
is so stupid,
has no plans, completely believes fucking Quentin Beck. Maria calls him Nick when nobody calls him Nick. I also thought it was interesting where he's like, Captain Marvel, what about Captain Marvel? And he's like, don't invoke her name, because I think the Skrulls consider her like a god, a savior. I don't know why Nick would say that. And that's why he has no contact with the Avengers. It's not fucking Nick Fury.
No.
But then the illusion Nick Fury, I also got confused. I was like, wait, which one was Mysterio's illusion Nick Fury? Which one was Skrull Nick Fury? And the fuck was going on? It's great. The illusion.
Did you think it was weird when Nick Fury got out of that chair and he looked like old?
He's old.
He looked like I know, but I mean, it's just
Sam Jackson's old.
He's old.
The illusion is just completely broken when he looks like he's got no shoes on. And he's like limping.
Where are my shoes at? He's like, get back to work, everybody. I was like, holy fuck. I love the people in the audience were like, I am so confused. Like the reactions were great to both post-credit scenes.
Every person in this movie has funny lines. And I don't know if that's a good thing.
Everybody? Yeah, I guess everyone does. I mean, the humor was not bad. I liked Brad Davis being a dick. I love Martin.
Which one's Brad Davis?
Brad Davis. Remy He. Fucking Brad Davis. He's always trying to cockblock him. Martin Starr was kind of funny, where he's like, did I tell you my wife pretended to blip out on me? She really just married another guy. I moved away. Like, that's fucking funny. And then JB Smoove, they don't even give him a name. He's just dropping one-liners.
What was his running gag that he didn't plan this?
He goes,
witches.
Witches. He's like, what do you think? He's like, well, as a man of science, it's witches. He kept coming back to, in fact, there's great, great Easter eggs with Edith. Another thing I love that Edith stands for, even dead, I'm the hero. It's fucking great. But even in death, I'm the hero. When he's looking at everyone's phone, where you can see the text, you see JB Smoove searching witches.
No, that's. I think what you're getting at is kind of my overall thoughts on the movie. It's just a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun,
but there isn't that weight that I had in this first two Spider-Man movies, where I'm like, this is very it's fun, but there's also serious stakes to all of this.
Absolutely, that's what sets those Raimi movies apart.
This is, as I said before, this is just another day in the life. Up until the mid-credit scene, that's not a day in the life.
That is some fucking crazy shit. But it is him so it's the slow character growth that they are giving all these characters, real slow, getting them to, and a lot of them, I like how they fleshed out Ned Leeds and Flash getting nut punched and Betty Brant. And
well, with Flash, you see that his parents ignore him.
Yeah, the text is like, "Mother, I haven't heard from you or father in days," and then he doesn't show up. So maybe they're setting him up to be like either a good guy or or bad guy or some kind of turn. Or
Flash?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, he just sucks Spider-Man's dick, right?
Yeah, he loves Spider-Man, but his mother, something about his mother. They kept bringing up, like, they brought up his mother twice. Maybe
I don't really know where they're going.
I don't know. Not with this. Yeah, I don't know. Well, and it's all the movies in between. Like, will they even announce the third Spider-Man movie in Phase 4? I don't know.
I don't know if I would like this version of Spider-Man. I don't know if I would like this version of Spider-Man. Like, if I was a kid.
Really?
Right now. No.
Kids are digging it.
I don't know.
I don't think that's, I don't know. It's hard to put yourself in a kid mindset as an adult.
If you were a kid, you would have watched Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon. You wouldn't have maybe not read the comics. This would have been right up. This would have been that Spider-Man.
It would be the Spider-Man that they've established, but I don't know if I would think it was great. Because I feel like it's very milquetoast. But I don't know. There's just, the things that grab me about characters when I was reading characters is when they had where they had some real meat to them. And I'm like, the fact that like almost everything is so, I don't know, it just feels so generic. Like everything is so generic in this
There's
movie.
no angst. There's no real baggage. I will say Humphrey Ching brought up one good thing in our Facebook group. He loved this movie, but he actually did. Yes.
Oh, wow.
Surprisingly. Oh, shit.
I didn't actually read I didn't read any of the spoiler stuff.
There's a great spoiler thread. Yeah.
Well, I don't like to have my thoughts influenced by anything going into
Well,
these reviews.
Humphrey Ching influenced my thought in one way, and I do agree. He's like, Peter, when he becomes Spider-Man, it kind of becomes a dick in costume because of the costume and the cockiness.
Yeah, there's no difference. Yeah.
Yes. So, and because he was a dick, he lets the killer of Uncle Ben run by him because he's being a selfish dick.
Right.
That is an important lesson. I was a dick one time. My uncle died. That's going to inform this character forever. You don't get the feeling that this Peter has that in him, or it's a lesson he needs.
Well, it's in Civil War. It's just a line where he goes, when I have when you have the things I have or whatever, I'm paraphrasing, you don't stop them, and then the bad things happen. They happen because of you.
Well, and they kind of do another allusion to the great responsibilities, great power line when.
You don't think it was odd that they were sitting there in a bar in costume just drinking?
They're in Europe. It's the Night Monkey. Nobody knows. And Quentin Beck doesn't have a secret identity. He
just literally saved everyone.
Yeah, but he doesn't have a secret identity.
I guess.
You know?
Yeah,
but what Nick says, heavy is the heart that wears the crown. That's kind of like with great power comes great responsibility. But then there's a joke where he's like, he said you wouldn't get that because it's not a Star Wars reference.
I will say, just thinking about all the tech, the amount of tech that's in the Marvel universe, they should never have like world hunger or like,
right?
No one should be poor.
Yes.
The amount of tech that they have now, everyone should be living an amazing life.
Yeah, you could literally do anything with it.
Yeah.
That barf technology alone.
It starts to lose meaning when you have everything.
They have everything.
Yeah, when anything can happen, it starts to lose its meaning, but I don't know.
They have everything.
And look,
they have magic, they have everything. I mean, but that's how the comics, right? The comics have everything.
But Peter had to make up a lot more.
And there's rules and there's things. There's thresholds that they have and things. I don't know. I mean, in the comic books, they're talking about like decades of stuff and shit. It all gets mixed in there. But you're talking about a couple movies,
right?
There's just very small.
But you're also talking about
all these things exist.
You're talking about what happens in 23 movies. Also, I mean, there's slowly you start to see how they're using going back into their source material, and
it's all built in there.
That's what I thought was really clever. Like it fit into the MCU. This is the MCU Spider-Man, and it works well.
Every time I sit down and watch one of these movies, and I have to tell myself the same thing every fucking time so I don't fucking freak out. It's like, look. They started this universe without Spider-Man in their toolbox.
Yeah.
They started without Fantastic Four. They started without X-Men in their toolbox. And then they had to build the universe around Tony Stark because that was the only thing that people responded to.
And now everything has to react to that. Yeah.
And I have to tell myself that this is basically like a very compromised version of the Marvel Universe.
Yeah.
And I have to tell myself that this is a very compromised version of Spider-Man, which is my favorite character growing up my whole life. And it really kind of is upsetting to me that the company that finally gets a studio and finally has all of the power to make, their comic books come to life in film, and it's so compromised. And it's just as compromised almost as if it was at Fox or if it was anywhere. Like it still has this baggage. And I think that ultimately is my problem with a lot of these movies, is that they did their best to overcome all of these kind of like problems and things that they didn't have going in, and they're trying to course correct. And it's upsetting that, like, maybe they'll once they get all their toys in, they'll wipe the slate clean and start a whole new universe again.
That's where I think they may be slowly going.
But I feel like at this point in time, I'm like, yeah, we've had some great moments in the Marvel, but we got robbed of Mandarin. Like, Iron Man's greatest villain sucks. Yeah. So,
but given that that's how it laid out, given that's the chips they were dealt, I think they're doing a pretty good job kind of fucking retrofitting this in.
I gotta tell myself that so I can accept that. I'm like, this is Marvel doing this?
Yeah.
This is Marvel kind of like dropping the ball here. Like, this is Marvel like allowing this other version of their characters to exist because, I think that if they did it right, I think everyone would love it just as much. Or maybe even more. Because...
But what's right?
Well, I think that when you have something that has been around such a long time in a certain iteration with a certain continuity, it's pretty easy to define what is right to a degree. I mean, yes, you have offshoots, you have times where various writers come in and they do their thing and then it goes back to status quo. So they know what a status quo is, right? Like when they went and they did that reveal in Civil War, they had to do Brand New Day to get back to status quo. There is a status quo, and that's an inarguable thing. Yeah. And they're making a new status quo, and in the comic books, they would never really do that. They would do that in an Ultimates universe or something like that.
Yeah, they mush it all together.
And then, so there is a status quo. There is a through line.
There's a baseline somewhere.
Yes. And we all know what that is.
Okay, a couple more questions, and then I want to go over some of these Easter eggs. There's a fucking shitload. First of all, regarding Ben Parker, Uncle Ben, if you notice on the briefcase, BFP, Benjamin Franklin Parker. Now, this...
Can I say something real quick about Ben?
Yes.
It is severely... They need him.
They
need something with
This
him.
was one of my questions. I've almost come to accept Iron Man as his Uncle Ben moment.
That's terrible.
Okay, so then follow-up question. And John Watts, listen, John Watts has alluded to this. Ben, they've talked about, you got the initials on the luggage. That means Uncle Ben is in this universe, but it also doesn't necessarily mean he's dead. Uncle Ben
that'd be terrible.
Could still be alive. Could he be alive?
That'd be really bad.
And we haven't had the Uncle Ben moment.
Well, here's the thing about Tony Stark being his Uncle Ben. Tony Stark doesn't need to be his Uncle Ben. Tony Stark can just be Tony Stark. In the comics, Captain Stacy dies as well. Gwen Stacy. He has a lot of moments where people very close to him die because he's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So that's a Spider-Man thing.
But Tony Stark didn't die because he was Spider-Man.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
That's not even his tone. That's not even his Uncle Ben. Even if
it shouldn't be his Uncle Ben.
At this point, though, if they retroactively give you the Uncle Ben moment, is it even going to mean anything now after all this time?
No, it doesn't.
Right?
It's.
I feel like they've kind of blown that now.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, they could. No, yeah, they went through it. It's probably past this moment.
Also, the other thing, I think it was Humphrey Ching mentioned or somebody else, but Peter cries a lot in these movies. This Tom Holland Spider-Man, he's always fucking crying.
That doesn't bother me.
What's wrong with that?
After every fight, though, at least, he's
a teenager.
Yeah, he gets emotional.
I mean, but Tobey Maguire was crying all the time, too.
Well, Tobey Maguire was crying. Garfield cried.
Toby had worst cry face ever.
He's Crider-Man.
that's kind of the thing I like about Spider-Man is he is very like an emotional kid. Like underneath when he takes off the mask, you know, he's crying. There's one story where he's with a kid, and the kid's dying wish is to see him.
The boy who collects Spider-Man,
right, and he sees him, and then he takes off the mask and cries.
He is very emotional. He's in touch. Yeah, he's woke, man. He's in touch with his feelings. You're right.
He's not even woke. He's just a kid.
But
he's just a kid doing things that he does. He's a kid thrown in impossible tasks that he's not nearly prepared for.
But even when he's an adult in the comics, he will shed a tear. He's he's not a monster.
He is a beta. He's a sensitive kid. Yeah. He is a person who's raised by older people that have different sensibilities and so he's been an outsider for a long time. So he's going to be a little bit more sensitive than the average jock dude, like that's, has his bravado and stuff like that. So when even though he has super strength and he can do all this great stuff, he's still vulnerable. He's still emotionally vulnerable.
I like that you describe him as a beta because that's actually not insulting. That's what makes him endearing to
he's not the alpha.
Nerds. He's not the alpha.
Because the nerds hate the alphas. They get picked on by the alphas.
That's why I liked him.
Exactly.
Because he was like this outsider kid that nobody really was into or was ever noticed. He was kind of like this person that everybody glossed over. And then he gets these powers. He could do great things. And he does become a dick. He gets drunk with the power. And then and his uncle dies, and then he has to whoa! All of a sudden,
and that's the thing, we haven't seen that. It doesn't seem like that's happened. It doesn't seem like he ever had that lesson. But the whole movie has lots of emotion, lots of heart, and I think Toby also did nail that well. The weird kind of dorky Peter Parker.
The thing that the thing that they got right in this movie was that he wanted to be a normal person. And not that actual narrative works, but him having an emotion and wanting to be a normal is something that maybe Peter Parker would wrestle with in the comic books. It's just not earned in this movie, but it's something that Peter Parker in the comic books would wrestle with. He gives up being Spider-Man plenty of times. He quits because, of the things it was weighing on him. But here he just I gotta get laid. I need to fucking get my first, so I'm going to give up being Spider-Man. The stakes weren't that high. Like it's not like MJ was going to die and then he would never talk. He was going to go back to school in Manhattan in a week. He could have still done something.
No, but
he just had this plan of what he wanted to unfold and give her this Black Dahlia.
That took me back to being a teenager too, where you have these you think they're romantic plans and they're really cheesy and dumb and you just freak out. I could totally connect with that part of.
But after you've been dead,
bitch, and been to space, and brought back to life. Bitch, you've been to space.
You can't be all right, when this trip's over, maybe I could still fucking hit on her. Now that I know that she's not even into this dude that's trying to, jock me right now.
Brad Davis. I love Brad. Brad Davis, another Easter egg. He was a high school or a star quarterback in college, Empire State. Other Easter eggs, all the license plate numbers. Anytime you see a number that references something.
They're all comic book issues.
Yeah, first appearances. Behind Happy in the beginning when he brings the check, there's a poster, a wrestling poster. It's Crusher Hogan versus Bonesaw McGraw.
Geek boner.
Both, Crusher Hogan from the original comic book storyline and Bonesaw from the Raimi movies. That's
the Macho Man.
Bonesaw's ready. Ned Leeds and Betty Brant, of course, a thing in the comics. All the hotel names and street names. There was Hotel DeMatteis, they were saying, for J.M. DeMatteis. There was also streets named after Brian Michael Bendis, David Michelini, Jerry Conway, and Ruggs, your favorite, Kali Slato. Dan Slott, Easter egg there. Dmitri, that Russian dude, quite possibly could be the person that becomes the Chameleon.
Oh, shit.
And in the comics, the Chameleon's brother is Kraven the Hunter. Now imagine this. Dmitri somehow gets the Skrull shape-shifting DNA spliced into him, and now he can change his appearance like a chameleon. That could fucking work.
Or maybe he just takes Mysterio's tech.
Or takes Mysterio's, illusion tech and makes a thing. So that would be great. That would be a great way to leave into Kraven the Hunter. MJ was wearing a tiger shirt at one point to reference the Face It Tiger. You just hit the jackpot.
Lame.
line. We talked about mysterious hallucinations straight out of the fucking comic.
Yeah.
MJ knows Peter is Spidey, also from the comic books. A lot of nods to the video game. Did you notice the video game Easter eggs, Rugs?
No.
When he's making
the suit, they had a suit.
Yes,
in there.
the Velocity suit and the video game suit is in that row of suits when he's making his own suit.
I think I saw the 2099 suit as well.
There might have been, and also the selfie he takes flying when he's swinging to MJ. Like,
I hate that.
That is exactly the selfie with the peace sign. That's exactly what it looks like in the video game when you take selfies.
I actually liked him swinging around with MJ because in the comics they play it up as if this be this joyous thing.
I love that she hates it.
And then she's just fucking hating it
yes.
because it's like it would be fucking scary.
Yes, I love that she's like, never doing that again. But I love his black and red suit also because there have been instances where they've colored it black and red just for effect. In the beginning, the printing was off. It was black and red. I think it looks sick black and red. And I like that he made his own suit, and he figured things out when he was out of web shooters.
Did he really?
I don't think.
I mean,
I would disagree with that. He didn't.
Well,
make
he
his own
didn't.
suit.
He had help, but he didn't.
Tony Stark.
Tony Stark's tech.
What
yes,
suit he wanted?
Assembled his own suit out of Stark tech.
He didn't assemble. I mean,
he
no.
basically made his own suit, like the way when you go into a store and you just buy a jacket and pants.
Yeah,
that's what he did.
I'll take this one. But he
didn't make it.
Yeah, but he was taking
just went
things apart and
selected it.
modifying them and adjusting, and he customized his own suit. Can we say that?
All right, fair.
It's customized.
He doesn't need the Tony Stark tech.
No, he doesn't.
No. It'd be cool if he did his own. Like, he had one line where he did something nerdy, and I was like, that's it?
Yeah. What was that line?
He got
was
pretty
talking
nerdy
about-
on the plane, I think.
When he was talking to Quentin initially about the parallel universes.
Yeah, that was
he got
just like
excited
one
about
nerd.
I love that
one
line
nerd
where,
moment.
and then Beck's like, hey, don't apologize for being the smartest man in the room. Everyone gives him that look. That was great. So also towards the end when he's swinging in Manhattan, by the way, that's the first time we've seen this Spider-Man swing through New York City. It looked great. He does pass the Avengers Tower, but there's some people are saying there's a slight Easter egg that hinting at either Phase 4 or the Fantastic Four. We don't know who bought it, but there's numbers on a billboard. It says 1, 2, 3 ? Wait till what comes next or something. But then when he's running over this building with the green roof, that is Norman Osborn's penthouse from the Raimi movies, the same one Willem Dafoe lived in. It's just the same physical building in New York. I don't know what that means. And of course, the Daily Bugle, Mysterio framing Spider-Man, all straight from the comics. And then the Fury in Tahiti, little hit like it was Tahiti from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I kind of like that too. Just a fun movie and a great capper. I think it's a great capper to phase 3 in the whole Infinity Saga because they needed to leave you like, what the fuck is going to happen next? And I think they succeeded with that. All right, look, let's rank and rate the movie. Give me a number and give me a ranking out of the MCU movies and out of the Spider-Man movies.
Oh, man.
Ruggs.
A lot to think about.
Ruggs, you go first. We got your number. What are you going to give it officially?
What do you mean? On a scale of 1 to 10?
What are you giving it?
Oh, no. I think I'm dancing. I'm not like dancing between like a 7 point something and an 8.
Okay. So let's say 7.75.
Yeah, that's fine.
I've nailed out the number for you. And then out of Spider-Man movies, where would you put this? Are you talking about the 3 Raimi movies, the 2 Mark Webb movies?
I still like, I think
John
Amazing
Watts
Spider-Man is a better Spider-Man movie than this. It is.
What?
So, I do, because I do.
Why did he hit spoiler alert?
I don't know. I meant to hit
First
this.
of all, it's got Spider-Man actually fighting something.
Yeah, he's punching people.
And he's fighting very well. I think the effects are great in that movie. I think that there's that moment where he's like injured and he's got to get up to the roof and people help him and it's cheesy, but like you cheer for him in that moment.
It's very New York, that movie also.
It's a very New York-y film.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of cool stuff in that movie. The relationship is very solid.
I'll have to go back and think about that movie again.
The only thing I don't like about it is the parent thing, where his parents, genetically engineer the spiders
for him.
With his DNA, and that kind of takes a little bit of that, like the mystery out of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But another thing I don't like is the Uncle Ben part of that. how he gets
I
killed and
forgot
everything
how that happens in that movie.
It's not as done as well.
it's lame.
Can't remember
But-
how it happens in that movie.
And the skateboarding, that's lame too.
Peter Parker should not be fucking skateboarding.
Yeah.
And nobody
But,
cares about his parents. Just stop.
Yeah, those are some. Every movie's got a weakness,
Yeah.
but I think that it's still more Spider-Man
Oh shit.
than this
Okay,
movie.
so
So I will probably put this under Amazing Spider-Man 1. So it would be my favorite is Spider-Man 2,
Yeah.
then Spider-Man 1,
Yeah.
Amazing Spider-Man,
wow.
and then this is kind of like somewhere maybe a slightly I don't know if it's above Homecoming or not. I really don't know. I mean, this is more action in it.
Is it fair to put
Homecoming?
Into the Spider-Verse in this mix? I'm a little torn on that because
No, we're
No,
just
I
talking
wouldn't-
straight up
yeah.
it's
Spider-Man.
not
wouldn't
live
do that.
action and you could do
It's
whatever.
a Miles Morales movie.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And it's
So,
not live
It's
action.
not live action.
Yeah, you can't put like Civil War in here or
No,
whatever.
I'm talking,
'cause-
just the main standalone Spider-Man movies.
Yeah. Yeah, so I would put it like maybe third or fourth.
All right,
Probably
and then
fourth.
as far as the MCU, 23 movies, what tier is this landing there for you?
Oh, it's dead in the middle somewhere.
Middle.
Towards the bottom.
Bottom, middle tier, middle, bottom.
Because I think my Homecoming was like almost at the bottom last time of all the MCU movies.
All right.
Because they just get the character so wrong. The only thing they get right in this movie is Mysterio's illusion when he's fighting
I
Spider-Man.
think they got
Not
a lot
the-
more things right, like him using his spider sense. That was finally right.
That was kind of cool, but it was more like Daredevil at that point.
Him making the bomb on his own to take out the drones.
Okay.
You know? All right.
That's it.
okay. Well, yeah. All right. Well, and him and MJ. There's a lot. Okay, Anthony. Anyways,
That's not MJ.
it's not MJ. First of
no.
all, this is not MJ, but this is this character. Whatever Michelle, she's fine for him. It's not the MJ. It's just
not
different.
Mary Jane.
No.
Mary Jane is somebody who gets fixed up
Right.
with, and that transfers to his school. She's the new girl.
His aunt's friend's daughter, niece
Yes.
or whatever.
And then they're just friends.
Right. For a long time, they
And
know of
then-
each other.
And then he dates someone, and then she kind of falls in love with him through that.
Yeah.
And then
And there's a Harry
she
Osborn
dies. Like Gwen
triangle.
Stacy dies,
Yeah.
and then Mary Jane consoles him, and then they become lovers. That's a completely different character.
It's a completely different character.
And she's a supermodel.
Yes. She's
Yes.
Michelle Jones. That's all.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it.
Anthony, give me a number and rank it.
I'd go 7 out of 10.
Okay.
So not like a home run, but
Yeah.
just a solid
Yeah.
Marvel movie. As far as the rankings with Marvel, probably like in the middle, like right somewhere like middle, upper middle, like upper middle as in closer to not the bottom,
right?
Middle, I like
top,
it better than
slightly
Homecoming.
middle top. Yeah,
I would say it's third. I like Spider-Man 2 the best,
Yeah.
and Spider-Man. Then I'd probably put this third. The reason why I don't like Amazing Spider-Man, besides the fact that Amazing Spider-Man 2 is terrible, is Amazing Spider-Man, they basically just undo the entire character because they put in there that his dad was experimenting with his own genes, so he was always meant to be the one and only Spider-Man.
It's not anybody could be Spider-Man.
Which takes away the entire point of anyone this could have happened to anybody. It didn't happen to
Yeah, and-
anybody. It was only going to happen to him because his genes were altered to be like spiders.
They kind of do
Yeah, I
that
hate
in the
that. So that's
comics
terrible.
at one point where he's a totem. He's supposed to be the totem.
That
doesn't
shouldn't
work.
no, that,
Should it?
that doesn't work.
Everybody hated that too.
Yes.
It needs to be
Don't
any
defend
guy.
it with shitty writing that Straczynski did.
No, I'm just telling you what happened. It was shitty.
It needs to be any guy this could have happened to.
Like in Into the Spider-Verse clearly gives you that, you could put on
And
the fucking.
I've seen Into the Spider-Verse being put in there. It's just a completely different medium.
Yeah, the different medium.
There's
where
too many things you can do with a car. Like
you could never do Into the Spider-Verse in
Yeah,
live
you
action.
can't do that in
And
live
not-
action.
It's just so
and not look stupid.
Story-wise, though, I think Into the Spider-Verse is an amazing Spider-Man story.
It's great.
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay, so
Where did I? So third. I had it third.
you had it third. Okay, I will give this movie.
Anthony actually gave it a lower score than I did.
I did.
What in what the number score?
The 7 out of 10.
Oh, you gave it a lower. Yeah, I'm giving it an 8.5. You know what? Initially, I was going to give it like a 8.75, closer to the 9, and then on second viewing, I calmed down. I was like, okay, I see what's going on. Can I just mention another thing that maybe you don't have to do is the fucking slapstick comedy hitting your head on the fucking bell I really wish they did not do that. Why are you doing this? Like, the comedy is great, but they go, like, whereas Raimi, he has some humor, but it's taken very seriously, and the hits are brutal, and you feel the impact. This is like, it gets a little too jokey. The bell thing, the second time really bugged me. I was like, really? The bell?
I forgot about the bell
Don't you
thing.
not have some fucking spider sense or any kind of common sense at all, Peter Parker? Anyways, 8.5. And out of Spider-Man movies, I will also put it third after the first two Raimi movies. Above Homecoming. I did like it better than Homecoming. But, like we just said, if I was to take the story of Into the Spider-Verse, it would also fit in somewhere right there. Maybe even higher, but you can't really compare it.
I don't think
people that are giving this 98%, they're out of their minds.
And then out of MCU, same as Anthony, I would like put it middle, slightly top of the middle. A little bit above it, the absolute middle. There's a lot, out of 23, there's a lot of fucking movies in there now to sort through is the thing. So, but I love this movie. Oh, I saw it in IMAX.
I love this movie.
I'd like to change my score to a 7 and tie with Anthony.
Oh, shit. Okay. 7. So we got a 7 from Rug Boy, 7 from Anthony, 8.5 for me. I also gave it an 8.5 because I saw it in IMAX and I got a little Spider-Man toy. Anybody else get that? Old figurine. It's lovely.
I ain't get shit.
It's sitting
I didn't get anything.
on here on my desk. I have, first of all, I got my Spider-Man backboards. I got me as a bobblehead as Spider-Man, and now I have Spider-Man Far From Home.
Spider-Man.
I'm excited. Let's see what the MCU brings for the future. We will find out San Diego D23 later this month and next month. But for now, it's weird that we don't know what's coming next. You know, now is the time where they can let loose their plan. Something we've been dying to know. Good stuff, Ruggs. Where can the listener find you online?
Online? You can find me at Really Rug Boy on Twitter.
And in line for sandwiches at the local bodega.
Ooh,
online
I like
and
that.
in line. Oh, shit. Show notes for this episode, listener, jockandnerd.com/281. Visit our lovely website. There's links to everything we talk about, how to get in touch, how to subscribe for free on multiple different platforms so you never miss a show. Let us know what you think. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter. And if you like the show, of course, spread the geekery. Share it with a friend. Thanks for listening to the Jock and Nerd podcast this week. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's the Nerd.
We'll peep you next time. Here's some gypsy Spider-Man jazz.
Let me tell you about Tony, all right? Tony ruins lives.
I'm pumped.
Yeah, me too.
I love this movie. I love this movie.
You're still here? You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go. Go home. It's over. Get out of here. Go home. All right? Leave. I'm calling the cops. Get out of here. Get out. The ending of Ferris Bueller wasn't that long a thing, but go. Get the fuck out. He didn't say that either, but that's me ad-libbing. Okay? Just go.